Alright guys, I am very close to the start of this project in terms of the build. This has actually been ongoing for a long time, as I figured, eventually I'll have enough pieces to build this thing. And then within the last couple months, I realized with all these bulk buys, I pretty much have all the basic parts. It's just down to the stuff that everyone who has built Cafe Corner knows is hard to get. And so that's been the main drive for the past month or two. And over a couple Bricklink orders and bricks and pieces, got lucky there a couple times with these dark red slopes, like stuff like that has kind of come together, and now I am about 5% away from having all the pieces for a complete Cafe Corner, and I'm even closer to this specific modified version. So this is the studio model that I have had built up as of last year, and at that point it was more for the experience of building Cafe Corner, and then as I realized I could probably piece this thing together, I've actually been using this as a reference to go in and see which things I could actually get away with changing, where it's still very much the iconic Cafe Corner, but also finding a balance between the original parts in the set and what is actually out there for reasonable prices. And yeah, striking the balance between those two ends of the spectrum. So I wanted to show you some of the last modifications I've made on the digital side, and then a little bit of the tiles that I'm picking to wrap this up. And then the next video for this project will probably be the first floor build. And hopefully that will be before 2022, possibly later in November here or into December. But yeah, while we're here in studio, I'm going to just cover a couple more things. So if you hide this upper tower and zoom in here, you can see one of the swivel bases, and this is one of the ones that was a light bluish gray, which is a ridiculously expensive part specifically because of this set. So I've changed this to black, and in this case, when it is completely built, this is covered. So I'm not sure why that had to be the other light bluish gray color. Now the rest of the ones in the model are actually visible when the build is complete. So there's two down here, and then there was one somewhere else. I think it was still visible though. So these two are very visible. They need to be the light bluish gray. And some people are okay with doing the old light gray color, and there's a few of those, probably a few more of those available for better prices. But in this case, I do have 3 of the 4 that would be needed for a complete Cafe Corner, and now that I've color swapped this one to the standard black base, I now have enough to build this version of the Cafe Corner. And the other thing I've recently done is just try to reduce the number of these 2x2 dark bluish gray tiles. So these are a little easier to get. It's just a matter of quantity. I think the original Cafe Corner had 45, and just to help reduce that workload a little bit, I've subbed in some of the larger 2x4 tiles. Now I did consider what the visual appearance would be if I started switching all of these and then kind of did a stagger pattern, like more of a flagstone sidewalk instead of the squares. So I actually used this model to test that out, and I didn't like it. Mostly because when you're working your way around obstacles and the foundations here, there isn't a good way to break a 2x4 tile into that corner shape that is needed to maintain the appearance that I wanted to kind of maintain with the stagger. So I had to go back to the 2x2 squares, and if I don't have enough on hand, I might have to rob from other modulars. And then as I do continue going through these bulk buys and into next year, just being able to bring in a few more of these at a time, and then kind of replace those that I do take out to finish this project. So those would be the 2 most recent things. And then in the last video, I had talked about changing the lettering underneath here to dark tan, and I've actually changed that back. It turns out I do have enough of these 1x1 tiles to get this accomplished, and I think that is pretty crucial to the original set, matching that color down there. It's very visible. So that is kind of the update on the digital side. Covered some of the other substitutions I'm doing in the previous videos. So yeah, just changing out one of those turntables, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of other people who have parted this out have also omitted that light bluish gray one, except in the case where they do want 100% authentic cafe corner. Now, I mean, I'm still going to be keeping an eye out for that turntable, probably more so just because it's such a valuable part and they're nice to get in a bulk lot for less than a cent a piece. But if I do end up with one, I probably won't be putting it under that tower just to say that I have a more accurate model. It's kind of the same thing with the arches underneath the stairs in here. Like, you can't see them at all. They're completely hidden, so they don't need to be a rare color. I can live with that, especially since this will be staying in my collection, and I'm not going to try to flip this at all. There it is. The incredible thing, it's immediately recognizable what this set is. Just the parts are enough to do that. And I think that says a lot about the iconic status. I don't know, to me anyways. So, the last leg, the home stretch, is picking the tiles for this set, just because those are the pieces that ended up at the back of my 8-page printout. So working my way down, I've got 1x6s and 8s in here, and 4s, and then all of my 1x2s are in this little bag. And then some of the special plates and tiles are the ones that are still out here. Ooh, $30 piece. Okay, so it's those 3 bags kind of still sitting out here. Window frames as well. I still need one more of these. Yeah, interesting. For a while this had been retired, or at least the most recent version of this piece with the hollow studs on top. And then I was just looking through inventories today of different new sets, and there are 2 of these in the Titanic in white. Kind of crazy. It's coming back. So that might show up on Bricklink if people are parting out the Titanic. So what is left at this point before I start building? I need a couple more of these 2x2 tile, dark bluish gray. I need several more of the 1x2 reddish brown. These form the wall detail on the second floor. And then I had also pulled out all of my 2x4 to look at doing the flagstone thing, but I'm only going to need 2 of them under those front stairs. So I'll add those in. And then I think that's it. Yeah. Very close here, guys. Possibly another Bricklink order, and then just the shipping time on that. But I might be able to get started with the first floor while I wait for that to come in if I rob some tiles. So the next video of Cafe Corner should be starting on the build. Yeah, if you are looking at doing this project, I'd recommend 2 things. Build the studio model, get familiar with it beforehand, and if you're interested in making a few compromises, then that's kind of the place to do it and see what it looks like, at least have a little visual reference. And then the other thing I'd recommend doing is printing out a parts list. And this one I created with Rebrickable by using the modified studio file. So once you have Cafe Corner the way you like it in Studio, if you do that first step, you can drag that file into Rebrickable and make a parts list out of it. And then you can organize it by color or part type. I organized mine by part type because that's how I have things sorted. And then you can print that out. This is a custom scaling. I think I scaled this down to 85% to get a nice
amount of parts on one page, and then I also printed double-sided. So just trying to get things compact but still readable. And then as I've gone through and picked, I just cross off the lot when it's complete. And if I had to recommend a third thing to do, it'd be to get some of these little bags and keep things consolidated so that you know, it's not the same as the way that Lego would have bagged the set for building from the instructions, but it is still somewhat sorted and will be a lot easier to get to specific parts as I'm building, as long as I can remember where I put them, which bags I put them in. You know, a lot of the same parts are in the same bag, just different colors. So yeah, 3 things I'd recommend doing if you're looking at doing this project. You'll save a little money, you'll get a feel for the set beforehand, and you'll probably have a better time building it from somewhat sorted bags than you would if this was just loose pieces in a bin. So I would recommend it, and all of that being done before the build actually gets started. So a little bit of input here to save a little time on the output side. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you are enjoying the Cafe Corner project. And if you haven't yet, we would appreciate the subscription, so consider that here on Brick System Brothers. And we've got more stuff on the way, so we'll see you there.